live. We are in motion and we are getting into the swing of things. Welcome back. This is Mitch's Golf Diary. Really enjoyed the process of practicing under a bit of pressure, keeping a journal that describes my short game through to the long game, and then also doing the round analysis at the end, which is very informative for what I need to work on during the week. But every week is not the same. There'll be weeks where it is foundation work, there'll be transition training, and there'll be performance training. So it's week 20 of the year, the calendar. It is sort of week 1, week 2 of the new season, but I have included all the previous rounds to not be separate from the experiment. But I wanted to go through Saturday's round. It didn't really get a commentary because it has set a tone for what am I working on this week, but also keeping in mind the stats that were captured after Saturday. It wasn't actually the same old story, and I'm really enjoying this process of having a better mindset on the course. It's definitely opening up a fresh set of eyes. It's also giving me, maybe a much better stance on reaching my potential and not getting too bogged down with too much interference. So yeah, let's get it on. So it was the woods at Mount Edgecombe, and it was a tee off at around 12:35, about 12:30, and I had a very decent bunch of players to play with, and it really just led to a perfect condition of a day. It didn't have the wind that expected. I had checked the wind and decided that I wanted to, and not what I needed to, not what I wanted to, but I was excited with the opportunity to face some shots with a little bit more intent and visualize my targets and commit to those targets with a much better vibrational energy. Working from backwards, I don't really do any fortune telling on the course, but I am hoping to make better on-course decisions, having the better expectations of myself, but also being the winner at the end of the day, that I have actually laid out a few set of rules and I'm disciplined to stick to them. And in the long term, that's what's going to lead to much more successful habits, and I can also help those around me as well. So teeing off the woods, I have a playbook which is not the same for every wind condition. The wind, if it did actually pick up, was going to come from an northeasterly direction. So I have a playbook which doesn't take into consideration the pin positions, but something that would be taking into consideration the ball flight, because there are greens, whether the pin position moves, the depth of green that you have to work with, it asks for a certain type of approach to a second shot strategy. So I've been working very hard before this round, understanding my high fade shot shape a little bit better, and I've done that shape actually with the 3 different speeds that exist. I have obviously the preferred speed is the 3/4 swing, which is a 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock swing. There's nothing wrong with the 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock swing, which will bring on the 50% or the half swing speed. But at the end of the day, there's also the full swing that can be brought. I think when you have built up the round, course management is gaining momentum. But I really feel quite comfortable having these speed drills sorted out before the round. If I have a chance to do my 2-hour pre-round routine, which includes visiting the range for a warm-up session and not a practice session, and then I feel quite comfortable if I've done certain exercises which improve my flexibility in a dynamic way, and then I also feel a lot more clarity and have a lot more direction, just in terms of my balance and my tempo. So I do everything in a certain type of tempo to set up the day, and I'm really working very hard in not trying to rush and have too many quick reactions or quick decisions. At the end of the day, that has been leading to maybe get ahead of some of the shots, not fully staying with the shot or committing to the shot, and that has led to some disappointing moments which are hindering my progress. But you can't hit every shot perfectly, and I think I'm also factoring that in. If I look at this round specifically, I felt that I had given myself the best possible chance to play within myself, and even though the score doesn't reflect it, I was actually sticking to a process where I was trying to actually get a lot more circles, which means that your tee shot, your approach, and closing out the short game were all very much committed to a vibrational energy which you had taken. How would you want the ball to finish, and not how you want the ball in the present state to start. In putting, we don't really talk about any acceleration. We just know that the ball gets magnetized by a very positive intention, and the ball will find a hole that is slightly more enlarged because of all these habits. So that's very important. So back to hole one. I've met my partners. I am very getting on with the fact that I play with different partners every week. It's a challenge in itself. Not to focus too much on their game, to take it as practice, that there's going to be all sorts of interference that's going to want me to move away from my game and make other people happier, maybe in the 4-ball, and that's the challenge, is for me to stick to the game plan and execute. So on hole number one, the tee shot that had been visualized in my mind was I was going to hit a hybrid more than 230 yards and give myself at least a fairway, or even if it's on the fringe of the fairway, a chance to hit a 9-iron or a wedge to a very narrow but depth of green. The pin seems tucked in left, so on the second shot I didn't actually get the contact or the strike I was looking for, and it might have been a bit of a flyer, but the 9-iron wasn't going to leave the ball short. I was left with a up and down position, which was very unlikely. I didn't write myself off, but I gave it a rating of the chances of me upping and downing from long left, where I've got very little green to work with, and also the lie was unplayable. It's got tuft behind the ball. It's sitting down. I thought the best thing to do was to take my lob wedge and play almost like an explosion shot, and just hope, well, that's the wrong word. I maybe visualize just, unfortunately, taking the riskier shot. I'm going to probably only come out with 1 out of 3. And if I do come out with 1 out of 3, the contact that I'm looking for from the explosion shot, then I would imagine the landing just on the crest of the downslope and see the ball go left of the pin position and give myself a chance to make par. Unfortunately, it was not the contact that I had visualized, and I actually left it on top of the crest. So I've got a long downhill putt to save par. So very unlikely, and I accepted the fact, and I made sure that I didn't treat the mistake with compounding the mistake further. I was going to replace it with a positive target, and that led to a putt that I almost I used the eyes looking at the flag at the hole, and I knew that there was going to be a double break, but the speed was everything. I looked at at a spot just in front of the hole because it was downhill and it doesn't run extremely fast against the grain. But autumn is in the air, got a fresh breeze going round, and there's quite a lot of exciting feelings just with the fact that you are going to get a release, you are going to get putts that are quite true when you play winter golf at the coast. So these feelings are all going on, but not just to get too excited, but what is it going to feel like for me to actually make this putt? And I gave it a very good attempt, and I still left it within 3 foot to make a bogey on hole number 1 at the Woods. The second hole, doesn't matter where the pin is with the wind today. You have to try carry the left bunker to get the biggest to get the largest area of green to work with. And I took a 4-iron. I didn't need to hit it 100% or 90%. I could have still got away with good contact and a 70% swing feel of a swing. And the 4-iron definitely carried about 182, 183 yards, and it managed to get itself closer to the hole, but just outside 20 foot to give myself an uphill birdie, and it would have been a right to left breaking putt. But I didn't close out the short game. I got a bit excited. I also feel that I maybe put unnecessary pressure on myself to make the birdie. I was probably voicing phrases like, I need to make this putt, and that is a place out of fear. So been working on these psychological and cognitive practices which incorporate very different types of mindsets and building on strengths that you don't overwork, but at the end of the day you still enjoy the moment. And if there is pressure, you perform and you welcome the chaos that arrives with the pressure. So I actually left the birdie putt short. I actually might have hit a little bit too much beneath the equator of the ball, and it bobbled for me not even to notice that it felt very off the spot that I needed to hit. But it was probably the worst putt of the day, and I missed the par save, which was just outside 3 or 4 feet. And I'm now bogey to start the Saturday round. So look, at the end of the day, I'm still going to take the mistake, and I'm going to picture a positive target. And I did that on the third hole, where the tee shot is not a straightforward type of hit and hope. You've got to pick a target, and I generally, draw an imaginary line, but really try and focus on the left half of the fairway, because 2 good shots on the par 5 always gives you that chance that you could have a 2-putt birdie. So I actually rolled out on the fairway and could at least take a decent hybrid swing, and that actually didn't get all the way to the front, but at least gave myself a 40-yard pitch shot. And the 40-yard pitch shot, I had actually no green to work with, so I wasn't actually going to take the risk with the loft and the grips and the length of swing. I was going to still keep it, pretty simple, and I ended up actually pitching it on the fringe, and unfortunately it stayed beneath the hole, but I was going to have to make a birdie putt that